So hi there, we're here at BioTrinity in London and with Linda Summerton, the CEO of Immodulon Therapeutics. So Linda, you are developing immuno-oncology technology derived from bacteria. Can you tell me a bit more about it?
Yes, of course. It is a heat-killed mycobacterium. It's a bit esoteric. There's no one got anything in development quite like this. It affects the innate and the adaptive immune system, and we've now got quite a bit of preclinical data to underpin that in terms of what we do in vivo and in vitro. Yeah. Also, in our clinical studies, we've shown it to have a survival benefit in patients, but it doesn't really add any toxicity. It's quite gentle. And as a company, we're quite different as well in that we're funded through ultra-high net worths and philanthropic investors. So we really want to make this valuable new treatment as widely available to patients as possible.
So indeed, it looks like the technology is quite promising because you are now one of the most valuable companies in the UK. Can you tell me how much you've raised so far?
We've raised a significant amount. I'll leave it at that. The exact amount is confidential, but a few tens of millions that we can put towards exploratory development. A lot of that we've spent, but we still have a decent cash runway. Yes, we are valued quite highly. I think Forbes quoted us at 400 million. That's a lot of money. We'd love to be worth that much. That's delightful. But obviously, we are seeking money for regulatory development now. And obviously, our main aim is to get this valuable new treatment through to patients. So, we can talk about valuation with the investors, yeah.
So actually, speaking of your pipeline, your lead compound has already passed phase 2. What are your plans for development and commercialization?
Yeah, our lead product, as I said earlier on when I talked about the technology, is an immunotherapy for treatment of cancer, and we have got randomized phase 2 data in pancreatic cancer, which is a disease with huge unmet medical need. There have only been 3 new treatments for this disease in the past 20-25 years, and those are highly toxic. So what we offer is something really different here to patients. So our plans are, if we raise the money, a bit more money, to try and bring it through regulatory development and to register and launch it in pancreatic cancer. But in addition, we're also looking at where else it works in other cancers and with other drugs like the checkpoint inhibitors. And we've got some very exciting data there to show that we have synergy with checkpoint inhibitors, which gives us another opportunity to move the drug forward for patients.
Okay. And being based here in the UK, how do you find the biotech ecosystem in Britain?
Well, overall, I think it's quite healthy in early stage development. I wouldn't separate it from how it is in Europe or the United States. The US is a bit healthier, but I think there's quite a healthy system for funding early stage companies. I think the challenge really comes when you want to progress a promising potential drug that's already got phase 2 data through to phase 3 and to get the drug registered. Then it takes a larger amount of money, and that's where the investors can't really make the returns on the investment sought, given that there's still some risk at that stage that the drug will fail. So that's the challenge worldwide. Usually you need a pharmaceutical partner to help you through. Occasionally, for some companies, an initial public offering will do, an IPO, if the drug regulatory development is relatively cheap. But otherwise, there's limited options, and that's the challenge we have in the UK. That's the challenge we have globally. But I'm hoping with Brexit that the government is going to start thinking about what it wants to do to improve the status for small companies like us in the UK, and maybe get us ahead of the curve.
Okay, and just one final comment. Since you are one of the few women in top positions on biotech, could you comment on the status of gender diversity in this industry?
I actually think it's pretty good. In my own company, Immodulon, most of the management team, most, I say 50-50 male-female, and certainly some of the more senior positions, our chief scientific officer is female, our head of regulatory is female. Head of quality assurance is female, head of clinical operations is female, so there are a lot of women there. And that's been my experience in most recent years, that there are quite a lot of women there, and there's quite a lot of women coming through in senior roles. I can't speak more broadly than my own experience, but I think it's looking good, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely great to hear. So thank you very much for your time and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much indeed.